Howdy, folks. Our third video is going to be about identifying and punctuating independent clause commas with commas. And so we finally get to that fun word, punctuate. Hooray! We actually get to start using some comma rules. All right, so if you haven't yet, make sure you grab that notebook out because I do want you to take notes. There's some terms in here that I want you to be able to identify and recognize. The first one being conjunctions, specifically coordinating conjunctions, right? Because we learned about subordinating conjunctions, words that make part of a sentence dependent on another part of the sentence. But coordinating junctions do kind of just that. They coordinate, they join ideas together. These are often known as fanboys because that's the acronym for and, nor, but, or, yet, so. Those are the 7 coordinating conjunctions. That's all there is. There's just 7. Any other word is not a coordinating conjunction. So this is a pretty simple list. You should be able to remember these 7 with that term fanboys. So remember, these are joining ideas together. And they get tricky because they don't always need to use punctuation, but sometimes you do. So let's go through some of these scenarios here. The specific scenario that we're going to look at is using independent or connecting independent clauses with commas. So to start off, let's take a look at a simple sentence and how they would look if we were just to write this out. So I could say 2 simple sentences. Mr. Restad drank coffee. The students also drank coffee. 2 simple sentences, just living their own life, nothing complicated with commas, but also a pretty boring sentence. I might join these together this way. So everyone drank coffee and had a good time drinking their delicious coffee at school on Wednesday. I get a lot of students who try to sneak a comma in there because they're like, ooh, I see that coordinating conjunction, and I remember my lessons from 3rd grade. When I have and in the middle of a sentence, I need to put a comma there. And that's not true, right? Because we're not connecting 2 independent clause commas. I only have one subject, everyone, but I have 2 things that they did. They drank coffee and they had a good time drinking that coffee, right? So just because I have 2 verbs doesn't mean I have 2 subjects. So I'm not working with 2 independent clauses here. Here's an example of 2 independent clauses being joined together with that coordinating conjunction. Mr. Restad drank coffee, yet, yet he was still tired in the morning, right? Mr. Restad drank coffee, he was still tired. 2 separate independent clauses, join them together with that comma and the coordinating conjunction. All right. So if we talk about when we do this, we also have to talk about when we do this incorrectly. And that's a comma splice. So I'll see this again in a lot of students' writing. It's a common mistake. So if you ever see me write CS or comma splice on your papers, this is what I'm referring to. And that's because this poor little comma is not strong enough on its own to connect 2 independent clauses. Like, oh, look at this guy. He just can't quite get it done. He needs that spotter. He's got to put on some weight. So I would need to say Mr. Restad drank coffee, comma, and the students drank coffee too. A comma alone is not strong enough to join 2 independent clauses. I need to do something else. I either need to make that a period, I need to do that comma and coordinating conjunction. We'll learn a couple other ways to join 2 independent clauses, but know that a comma alone is not enough. All right, let's try it out. John Santa, show us where the commas go. So I've got 3 sentences here, and I want you to try to identify if any of these sentences have 2 independent clauses, and if so, where would we put those commas? So press pause and try that out. Do it. John Cena's looking at you. Press pause. Give it a shot. All right. You got it? Cool. So did yours look something like this? Is this where you put the comma in? I know it was a little tricky because I had 3 sentences, but only 1 extra comma was needed. So this first and this third sentence are actually only just, they're not compound sentences. This one is a complex sentence, right? Because I have the dependent clause, but then I just have 1 independent clause afterwards. I make up funny voices and I annoy her with my bad French accents. And the second one is I do have that word and in there, but I unfolded the wrinkled and stained letter. I don't have 2 independent clauses. The second one I do, right? She did not cheat, and it was the wrong thing. So 2 separate independent clauses. Remember, 4 is one of those coordinated conjunctions, so we are going to put a comma in right there. Okay. Another quick little test. I want you to try to write a compound sentence using conjunction yet. Practice using some of these different fanboys. All right. Get that in your notes. I don't care if it's right or wrong. Well, I do care if it's right or wrong. But I just want you to practice using these sentences. All right. And then lastly, we've got a short little review. Here's what we talked about. Coordinating conjunctions are used to connect ideas, and they are fanboys, for and, nor, but, or, yet, so. And sometimes these are going to get commas, sometimes they're not. Mostly we're just going to use them with independent clauses. These are separate from subordinating conjunctions, thinking back to a couple lessons ago, which just make ideas independent or make ideas dependent on another section of your sentence. And then lastly, a compound sentence is we're going to connect two independent clauses with a comma and one of those fanboys, one of those coordinating conjunctions. All right. Good luck, folks.